Good afternoon, welcome to Scorched Earth Tarot. This is going to be a reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, Libra. If you don't know what your Sun, if you don't know what your Moon or Rising sign is, have a check in the description box below. I'll put a link to, that's our first card, to Astrolabe. If you put in the time, date and location of your birth, it'll give you your natal chart for free and you'll be able to see what your moon and rising signs are and go back and watch the videos for those. They'll give you a better overview of what's going on with you in the month of September. Thank you for all your messages and comments and stuff. I really enjoy reading them. It's it's actually turning out to be the highlight of my month. So thank you very much for that. YouTube's removing the functionality for messaging at some point in September. So if you want to get in touch with me, the best way to do it is to come and find me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Scorched Earth Tarot. I think there's probably a link to to those in the description box below as well. So, okay. Three main cards that we have are the Nine of Swords, there, the Hanged Man, Major Arcana, card of Pisces, and the Wheel of Fortune, number 10, card of Sagittarius. I'm just going to get some clarifiers. I think I want to use this deck for that. Yeah. So we'll just get some clarifiers and get some detail, and then we'll get into the reading. They're all time stamped, so if you want to skip this bit and jump ahead, I shan't be in the slightest bit offended. There's a 9. I'm not taking that because it didn't jump, it just kind of flipped. Try not to cackhand the cards so much. Why is the Nine of Swords here for Libra? That's the one. Bear with me, we're nearly there. Where's the Hanged Man here? I'm not going to take this because there's far too many. But it was the Tower, the Eight of Swords and the Hermit, just in case you're interested. Which may or may not be relevant. Come on, why is that? Here we go. Okay, and why is the Wheel of Fortune here for Libra? Okay. Right, this is a general reading, so bear in mind it's not going to resonate with everyone. Usual rules apply, take what resonates, leave the rest. If it's not resonating with you this month, then maybe you're not one of the Librans that I'm picking up, and try again next month, or check out your Moon and Rising signs, whichever applies. So, are we having a bit of a hard time at the moment, Libra? The Nine of Swords is your first card, and the first card seems to be either immediate, recent, past energy or current energy that you're experiencing now in these readings. And this is a painful card. It's swords, so it's air element, just like you. but it's a card of deep mental pain about something. And the woman's depicted sat up in bed. You know, it's a long dark night of the soul. That's what this card is. It's about those intrusive thoughts that stop you from sleeping at night. It's going over old situations and reliving them over and over again. You know, is that saying, like, the night is always darkest before the dawn? And the last card in this suit, which is the Ten of Swords, depicts a man lying on the ground with swords in his back, but his face is turned towards the coming dawn. Once you're at the bottom, there is nowhere to go but up. But here's the step before that, and it's no less painful. It's very internal. And I feel whatever it is that's been upsetting you, or that is currently upsetting you, waft that out of the way. You've not been sharing it with anyone. It's been kept very close to your chest. And it's clarified by strength. It's the card of Leo. It's Major Arcana. And although this woman has her hands on the lion's head, it's quite clear to see that she's not physically dominating it. It's not what the card of strength is about. Card of strength is about internal power. It's about internal strength. It's about strength of character. And unfortunately, whether we like it or not, it is these situations here, as depicted in the Nine of Swords, that give us this kind of internal strength. The second card that you have to clarify is the Knight of Wands. No, the Knight of Swords. Yeah. Fastest knight in the deck. Could be a person, so it would be Libra, Aquarius or Gemini. But it doesn't have to be, and I don't feel like it is, but I do feel like we need to pull another card, because I'm not quite sure why he's there. Why is the knight... Hello. Right. Got the Five of Wands. So you've been fighting with someone, or you've been on the receiving end of someone's ire. Yeah. And it's left you feeling very disempowered. It is in fact keeping you up at night. Let's see if we can get an idea about what this is about. What? Hello. Okay, we've got the Ten of Wands. And the Hermit. Right. The cards don't seem to want to tell me what the problem is, but they're giving me all of the reactions that you're having to this problem. And the important thing to remember about the Nine of Swords also is that it isn't... One of the aspects of the Nine of Swords is that whatever you're worrying about isn't always there. You know, it's like seeing funny shadows on the walls when all the lights are off at night time and you're trying to sleep. You're worried about something and suddenly you can see monsters, and you know there's something under the bed and all that kind of thing. You know, it's overthinking a lot of times, and panic and worry. And these four cards that I've pulled here, you know, we've got fighting, we've got disempowerment, feeling that you can't win whatever it is that you're fighting with someone about, and then it becoming really, really hard, and you spending that time looking within. And for me, if you were to pair up the Nine of Swords and the Hermit here, which is the card of Virgo, I don't know if I mentioned that, may include a Virgo. that's almost slightly paranoid levels of introspection, slightly paranoid levels of going over things. It's certainly overthinking. So whatever it is, you need to start trying to draw a line under it, because you're actually making yourself ill with it. I feel that quite strongly. And I feel like you haven't instigated this. You've been at the receiving end of it, because we've got this energy in here running towards you and trying to knock your strength, trying to knock you down. But whatever the threats are, whatever it is that you've been dealing with, it's not as bad as you think it is. Unless you let it become that way, and you let it become that way by letting it rule the way that you are thinking. And the next card that we've got is the Hanged Man. It's number 12, it's Major Arcana. I love this card, but then I'm a massive fan of Norse mythology, and it's based on, you know, the story of Odin suspending himself upside down from the Tree of Knowledge for 9 days to change his perspective and gain new wisdom. And it follows on very neatly from the cards that we've had before, because just as this situation isn't as bad as you think it is, you are thinking it into being a worse situation than it is. So the Hanged Man comes to say that you need to change your way of thinking. You need to stop punishing yourself for something. You know, I've just noticed these lions on top of the columns next to the Hanged Man, and they look genuinely shocked, almost comedically shocked. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but they're there. And I feel like possibly people around you are quite shocked at the level to which you have taken this to heart. You know, maybe you're an air sign, so you're quite a thinker anyway, but you're quite level-headed with your thinking. You're all about balance. And these lines are making me think that you've allowed someone to unbalance you in a way that is quite unlike you. But this person's come in and unbalanced you, and then you've picked up the baton and you've run with it. You're really going with the overthinking. And the card that came up to clarify is the Devil. He's in reverse though, so that's a good thing. And the Devil is about bondage and self-sabotage and excess. Being a slave to something. But in its reverse state, with the Hanged Man, it's about dropping a toxic situation, or a toxic thought process, or a toxic way of thinking that you might be currently engaged with at the moment. Because you're becoming obsessed. It's actually quite an obsessive card, you know. You've lost your balance somewhere. It's time to regain it. You're going to do that at some point in the month of September, because the Hanged Man is here and the Devil's in reverse. But it's not going to be a quick process. Like perhaps this situation that you're dealing with here has been building for a while, and bit by bit it's been preoccupying you to the point of obsession. But just as it didn't get there very quickly, so you're not going to get out of it quickly again. This is going to take careful, methodical, balanced thinking to do so. You know, it's earth energy, it's very slow, but it is fastidious. I'm going to pull another card for that, because I feel like this part of the message is missing. No, I want that one there. So, what else? This is really interesting. So we now have 3 knights on the board. And knights are all about action. They're about doing. Someone's done something to you quite swiftly, you know, or delivered communication that was very wounding to you, but it's delivered it to you. That's why I think you've been on the receiving end of this. And then we've got your Knight of Pentacles, and you have to undo the damage that you've allowed your brain to inflict upon you with this energy here. We'll flip it up. It's going to be slow. You're going to do it. But then we have the Knight of Wands, and we have the Queen of Pentacles, and they're quite a funny pairing, really. They don't on the face of it seem to fit each other terribly well. The Knight of Wands is obviously, he's from the fire element, so like after the Knight of Swords, he's kind of the fastest knight in the deck, whereas the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest. But he's got a very in-out energy, and he gets quite a bad rap for that. But I think in this case, because he's combined with the Queen of Pentacles, who's all about security and stability and safety. Actually, safety is a word that I would associate with the Queen of Pentacles in a way that I wouldn't associate with any other queen. And self-care. It's all about looking after yourself. But what I was going to say was, although the Knight of Wands gets a bad rap for being in, out, and his energy is a little bit sketchy in terms of its attention, what the Knight of Wands excels at is living in the moment. I mean, that's entirely his thing. And whereas sometimes it's misread to be a negative thing, or read correctly, depending on how you want to put it, he does absolutely, more than any other character, I think, depicted in the tarot, he lives in the moment. He's right here, right now. And when the right here, right now is done, then he's off somewhere else to go and live his right here, right now with someone else. Or on his own, whatever, it doesn't matter. This combination is telling me that you need to come out of your head a little bit. You know, just as you've got stuck up in your head, you've become slightly obsessed with this situation. You're going to pull yourself out of it slowly with the Knight of Pentacles, and then here's the Queen of Pentacles to say you need to take care of yourself a little bit more than you are doing, and you need to be right here, right now, because you're not right here, right now. You're somewhere else. That's where you are, and no one wants to be there. That's a thoroughly unpleasant place to be. So reading feels really vague, but I feel like it's going to feel very specific to someone, I hope, anyway. The final card you've got is the Wheel of Fortune. It's numbered 10. 10's in the tarot about completion of cycles. But the Wheel of Fortune specifically is about cycles, about not necessarily completing them, starting them, wherever you fall on the wheel as it's turning, you have to understand that it will go up and it will come down. You know, it's in constant motion. But when it appears in a reading, generally it means that your luck is on an upswing, and that seems to be borne out by the two cards that we have to clarify, because we have the Nine of Cups and we have the Star. Right? So the Nine of Cups is the card of wish fulfillment. It's not the 10, which is important to remember. And broadly, it seems like the difference between the 9 and the 10, as depicted certainly in the Rider-Waite, is that in the 9, the person is alone, and in the 10, there's a family to share in the good fortune and in the joy of the total emotional fulfillment. And the star is the card of Aquarius. You can see that. Yeah, that's not going to work. Bring it a bit closer. There's the star. Right. Still awful exposure. It's the card of Aquarius. And it's the card of hope and vulnerability and healing. You know, it couldn't be further away from the Nine of Swords, which is all about being up here and being in tremendous mental pain, you know, which almost invariably will end up being emotional pain as well. The Nine of Cups is the other end of the scale. Seems like you're being counselled not to give up hope, because actually what you wish for is so very, very close to you, you don't even realise it. So I'm looking at the bottom of the deck here, it's the Eight of Swords, it's about being trapped in your mind, and the Nine is about being trapped in your mind as well. The Devil, that way up, is about being trapped as well. And the consistent theme throughout those three cards is the fact that you are the person, the only person, in fact, who can pull yourself out of that energy. You know, that's not down to somebody else. Looking at the bottom, it's now the Ace of Swords. You know, there's a certain amount of truth, there's a certain realization that you have to have, and that from this middle section of cards, this is what it's asking you to do. But what's coming up for you in September, provided that you can keep the faith, you can keep your hope, you can keep plodding on with your little Knight of Pentacles, you know, undoing whatever it is that you've got upset about here, and taking the time to live in the moment and keep yourself looked after. There's something coming in for you, and it's really rather wonderful. What's coming in for Libra in September? We've got the Nine of Cups again. That's like, I love it when that happens. My daughter said to me the other day, I was doing a reading for myself, and I had Justice come out from 3 different decks in exactly the same place as a clarifier. I got Justice, I clarified it, I got Justice, I clarified it again, I got Justice. And my daughter said, isn't that really annoying though, because it doesn't really tell you anything? And I said, yes, child, yes it is. Except that it did tell me something. I shan't tell you what it meant to me, but at the very least, it means that this element is really, really important. If it's delivered twice, then it's an important thing that you need to pay attention to. Your wish, whatever it is coming directly underneath the Wheel of Fortune. There is something coming in for you, and it is wish fulfillment for you. But you need to work on keeping your hope alive. I'm not talking about, you know, incessant positive thinking, because I think that's incredibly damaging, and I really would counsel against anybody just always positively thinking, because sometimes you have to sit in the dark places and you have to pull all the stuff out of the cupboards, and you need to look at what's being sat there, because you can't heal it unless you do. And the Star is all about healing things. You know, if there is a theme to my style of reading, if it's the draw that makes me read in the first place, it's being able to see those things that skitter about in the darkness that affect people that they don't even notice are there, and try and counsel them to pull them out into the sunlight and let them heal through that way. So I'm not talking about just being blindly positive. And this is borne out by these cards in the middle here, like you are being asked to consciously process what it is that you are being upset about, what it is, what nerve it's touched in you, whatever this person said to you, however this person has behaved. You know, you cannot be affected by something that someone says if you do not, on some sort of you know, really low level, agree with them somewhere. If they don't touch a nerve, then you won't respond to it, and you certainly won't put yourself into this energy about it, because it would just be ridiculous to you. It would be like I don't know, me being upset about somebody pointing out my third arm. I clearly do not have 3 arms. Like, what are you talking about? This is interesting. So after your second 9 of Cups, we have the 8 of Cups and we have the 3 of Wands, but the 8 of Cups is in reverse. So rather than going away from something, putting something down and leaving it alone, this feels like something coming back. This is possibly a person coming back. This is possibly you coming back to another situation. Or, because it's the 3 of Wands, maybe there's an opportunity to travel that you didn't think that you would have. It's not that something's leaving, it's that something's coming back to you. And whatever it is, that's your wish fulfillment. And maybe the opportunity for it to come back to you is actually presented in such a way as you can travel to it. Fucking hell. We've got the Star again. And we've got the High Priestess. Right. High Priestess is about secrets and hidden things. Knowledge. She's also about intuition. Oh, just throwing cards on the floor now. Yeah, this Hanged Man I just threw on the floor there. You know. Let's ask one more thing. Why? Fuck's sake. Why is the High Priestess here for Libra? Tower in reverse. And the Hanged Man at the bottom of the deck. Right, I see this going a few different ways. Because the High Priestess is about secrets, in amongst other things. And the Star is about healing. We've got 2 cards in the reverse here. We've got the Tower and we've got the 8 of Cups. This could be somebody coming back to give you an apology. You know, certainly I could see that working this way. Or it could quite simply be that whatever this was, which I already said was kind of in your head a little bit, wasn't really quite as bad as you thought it was. Like, the Tower in reverse to me here in this situation is suggesting to me that that's exactly the thing. Whatever you thought it was, this Tower moment, it's actually not nearly as bad as you think it is. And somebody with a bit more knowledge than you, the High Priestess, is coming in to fix it. And there may be some travel involved somewhere here, but it might be actually be that there's something proactive that you can do off the back of the information that's going to come to you. Because that to me says the information is that it isn't as bad as you thought it was. We've got the Star here twice. We've got the wish fulfillment here twice. And you know, and if it's one thing about a Tower moment is in that split second after a Tower moment occurs, you would give anything to go back. You know, your pure wish fulfillment would be to go back 10 minutes before that thing happened, and live as it was, as you liked it was before. You know, before you found out a thing, before somebody said something horrible to you, you know, before X, Y, Z occurred. And this is what your wish fulfillment is, I think. I think you're about to find out that it is nowhere near as bad as you have been panicking about. It's nowhere near as bad as you've got yourself into this state about. And this introspection, this deep introspection, almost obsessive, panicking and fear and worry and fright. You know, there's so much fear here on this side of the table, and there's so much joy and wish fulfillment and healing on this side. Card on the bottom of the main deck is the Devil again. You know, there's some toxicity, there's some obsession, there's some bad thinking. You got yourself trapped in your own head. You know, pull yourself out now. There's no need to hide in there. I'm going to pull a card for advice for you, Libra, but I think it's fairly clear cut up here. What's some advice for Libra for September? Alright, 8 of Wands. One more advice for Libra September. Okay, so the bottom of the deck again, we've got the Knight of Wands. Pay attention to the moment. Look after yourself right here, right now. Stop being up here. The two cards of advice we've got are the Fool and the 8 of Wands. Like, there's a message coming in, and it's going to give you a new lease of something. It's going to get rid of all this noxious, toxic energy here, and it's coming, and you can start again. That's what I've got for you, Libra. I'm going to go away because I need a cup of coffee, actually, is the God's honest truth. But best of luck for September, and let me know if this resonates with you. I'd be really interested to know, because it felt like it was a little bit like scattered, and maybe that's you. Maybe that's how you're feeling at the moment. I don't know. But yeah, otherwise, love you all, and I'll see you in, oh God, October. Be almost your birthday. Wonderful. Right. Bye.